STMK Radio 100. You're listening to Stop the Madness, Keep It 100 with your host, Sean L., Let, and Tone the Stone on STMK Radio 100.
Yes, this is a PSA, a public street announcement. You are now listening to a kickback production. Light up your L's, lean back, and listen.
Tell you something, we gotta stop the violence, we gotta vote. Stop the violence and vote.
Failed. Councilman Zach Reed failed to support Mayor Jackson's plan to improve our schools, then failed to offer any plan of his own. Reckless. Zach Reed would recklessly cut critical city services to fund his reckless, unworkable ideas. Inept. 17 years on council, and Zach Reed still hasn't passed one major law, not one. And now he wants to be mayor? That's Councilman Zach Reed. Don't risk Cleveland's future on him.
Good evening and welcome tonight to our Halloween edition of Stop the Madness, Keep It 100. I'm your host, Sean L. Tonight, we're going to hear the best of the 57 Mayoral debate. And with just 10 days left before voting, we're going to talk about it and we're going to go out to the streets and see what you have to say. Welcome, Facebook Live, YouTube, Snapchat, and Instagram. You're now behind the scenes with Stop the Madness, Keep It 100. We have a young man here tonight with us who is running to be the Ward 3 council person in South Euclid, Ohio. Then we're going to go into the chat room with D-Knows, and it already got heated over Facebook gangsters and the 57 Mayoral race. We're going to be checking in with her later. We're going to be talking with our man on the beat, Saxman, and find out what the word is out on the street. In Studio 51 with us tonight is a young man who has done public service for 16 years, and now he's going to up his game. And instead of talking about it, he's going to be about it. He has resigned from his job, and he has put himself out there to make that change for his community. He's not only talking about it, he's going to do the work. He's a 16-year detective for the city of Cleveland. He has a bachelor's degree in urban management from Cleveland State University. He has volunteered and spent time with the National NAACP. He's the board president for Ambitious High School, and his platform from South Euclid is one that has to be reckoned with. Better and more recreation facilities for youths and kids in the city, better housing for their residents, and better safety. He wants to make it better for businesses to move into the city, and he wants more transparency and accountability for the city on its budgets and finances. Ladies and gentlemen, with me tonight in Studio 51, I want you to welcome Mr. Cutis Orr. And Cutis, I want to thank you for being with us tonight.
Sir, thank you so much for having me here. I'm glad to be here, and I'm here for this. I'm ready for this.
That's good, Cutis. Just do me one more favor.
Sure, what's that?
Just come up close to the mic and say that one more time.
Okay. I want to say thank you very much for having me here. I'm looking forward to this interview.
Okay, Cutis. What we want to know is what made you run for city council?
Okay. Well, first of all, I moved to the city, and I really like the city where I currently live, and I wanted to be able to make a change. The current city council person, Ed Ikove, he's been on the job for almost 20 plus years, and we talked about it, and he decided to endorse me as well. And there are a lot of things that are happening in the city, and I would like to be able to have a part in the city changing.
Tell us a little bit about your platform.
Okay. Well, I have three main things that I have issues with, not issues, but that I'm looking to change or fix, which are safety, housing, and the budget.
When you talk about safety, housing, the budget, let's go into this a little bit. South Euclid, for everybody to understand, is a inner ring suburb in the city of Cleveland, Ohio. It's about 22,000, maybe 23,000 people to live in the city. It's 42.5% black, 52% white, 2% Asian, and 3.5% of other races right there. So it's a mixed suburb. Cutis, some of the problems that our inner ring suburbs are finding now that they're dealing with, that Cleveland has to deal with, is housing. So let's go right there to the housing market right there. In South Euclid, due to the foreclosure and people walking away from their houses, a lot of houses was foreclosed on, and 60 to 70 houses had to be demolished. What is your goal to stop that from happening?
Well, I think because of the mortgage incident some years ago, I think what we have to do is find ways to move, people want to move back to the city. Um, Saduka is more of a bedroom community, and which is people usually live there and drive to another city to actually work. And my thing is to the point we have to make it. Why would someone want to move to South Euclid? And I think one of the reasons why we don't have enough, I believe, enough facilities for people to make this an actual bedroom community.
So when we look at this, the sitting councilman, Mr. Icro, 66-year-old, he's been there for 28 years, and he's been a dedicated service promoting diversity, progressive government in the city, and he deeply believes that each generation deserves to have their own leader that is committed to their social justice and equality. Now, when you look at Curtis here, and from coming from Cleveland as being a police detective and in law enforcement. This gentleman right here gave a scathing report for Curtis. He said he's supporting Curtis or because he brings a unique energy and experience to promoting our shared vision for the city. He's committed to residents who he, as being a police officer, served on council, and being the first to do this will bring wealth of information regarding operation of police departments and dealing with juveniles and crime. Curtis also has a vision that will set South Euclid on its proper course. Now, Curtis, that's a scathing recommendation right there from a 28-year sitting councilman. So your program must really, really be good on that. So when you come into, let's go back here to, you said recreation and improving facilities. What's going on with the recreations and the facilities that you want to change?
Okay, well, one of the things that I have an issue with is that we have, I believe, 6 baseball slash softball fields, 2 dog parks, and no basketball courts. None at all. None in the whole city. And one of the things that, when as I'm walking and I'm campaigning, almost every other house there's a basketball court in a driveway, and they're like, wouldn't you rather play somewhere else and play in the park with everyone else? And everyone says the same thing. And the ones who don't say it, the ones who complain it, they're tired of hearing the balls bouncing in the driveway. So one of the things I would love to do, the community center, which is used but not as often as it should be used, is to expand it to include an indoor track and a basketball court like the Carnival Rec Center is.
Now, South Euclid is partnered with Lyndhurst for their
Correct.
recreation things, and they have something like the Lyndhurst South Euclid Recreation. So, are you you're going to stay in the partnership with them, but you want to bring more activities into your city instead of having it out in South Euclid? I
Well,
mean, Lyndhurst.
yes, exactly. I mean, one of the biggest issues that I do have is that, yes, there is a YMCA, but if you're paying all the money in taxes, why should we have to pay for a family of 5 to go to a YMCA? I think there's only so much money a person can just keep spending. After a while, it's like we've had enough. I'm going to move to another city in which the taxes are the same, but I have facilities that my kids could go on play.
Now, voting is next Tuesday, and I want to say this right here to keep on this with Curtis. Curtis, you bring a unique experience to council and to this running platform as being a member of the law enforcement community.
Correct.
You are aware that urban cities and inner ring suburbs and outer ring suburbs for years has been doing what is known as the broken window policing theory.
Correct.
Okay, what would you do to change that theory in South Euclid so you won't have the same problems the suburbs like Euclid and Cleveland Heights and other suburbs are experiencing right now?
Well, one of the things I think I would love to do is that we have a lot of abandoned property because of the whole foreclosure process. What I would like to do is simply get programs in which tax abatements for students who are leaving Case Western, John Carroll, or even Notre Dame to move into the city. Especially guys who are finishing college and they're becoming doctors, in which the city is about 10 minutes away excuse me, from Cleveland Clinic and University Heights. So that's what I would like to try and get my younger people to move into the city.
Now, when you look at this right here, the median income for a family in South Euclid is about $59,000, and the medium house selling there is about $140,000. So when you talk about taxes and the tax base, you have the tax base there, and you have medium income residents working also.
Hmm.
When what are you going to do to relieve the pressure on them for our taxes and maintaining services if you're able to do that?
Well, I think that goes back to as far as bringing more people in to the city. I think what it is that as I'm campaigning almost every single day, there's at least two houses on each street that's empty. At least two. Okay, that's zero tax dollars that's coming in. Okay, so what we can do, like I say, is try and bring people in. Want to see that we have facilities like a rec center. We have different facilities for everyone, for a whole family to actually enjoy. Hey, let's move to South Euclid. I think South Euclid's biggest problem is that we don't have an identity. When you look at other cities, Beechwood, you think of Beechwood Mall. We think of Lyndhurst, you think of Legacy Village. Even Cleveland, you think of Tremont, Ohio City, you think of East 4th Street. The thing about South Euclid, I think we have to somehow build or have some kind of identity. So when we say, hey, let's go to South Euclid to do this, right now I don't see that. And for us to bring people into South Euclid, we have to give South Euclid some kind of identity. Say, hey, you know what? This is what we have. I want to move to South Euclid.
Now, going back to your platform on housing, what are you going to do as a councilman to ensure that absentee owners are held accountable for their properties and the taxpayers of South Euclid do not get left with the bill like they have been tearing down these houses with taxpayers' money?
Okay. Well, I think South Euclid, unlike Cleveland, hasn't had a problem with as far as tearing down houses. I think there have been a debate within city council right now as far as to figure out problem homes. Should we a find the present homeowners or the people who are actually living in the home? And what's happening is that they're constantly. I think people want to find the homeowners, but that's like punishing you for something that your kids did.
Right? But you know, 16% of the housing in South Euclid has been foreclosed on. So with the elderly residents that you have there,
Mm-hmm.
with the economy the way it is, and most of them being on fixed income now,
Correct.
they can't fix up their property. They are in tax problems. Probably is the city thinking about getting programs for them to help them come out of tax problems, to get their property up to code, and to get them back in a position where they can without worrying about getting fined or put the house so the city itself won't be on that status of foreclosure and raggedy houses?
Well, I think our housing department does a pretty good job of what they do now. I think what we need to do is to somehow expand what we actually have. To the point that we are helping people who can get their homes fixed with a small, low interest loan or some kind of a grant to help people who cannot get their homes fixed.
Now tell us right here, most people don't know where Ward 3 is, so tell us where Ward 3 is in South Euclid.
Okay, Ward 3 starts from Mayfield going south to Bayard, and it's from the best way to say it is it's from Warrensville going east.
Okay. So it's like from what's that? Stonehaven, Bayard, and South
Yes,
Green. Okay, the
correct, correct.
borderline, and then Warrensville Center borderlines at west.
Now, Warrensville Center is the borderline. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, it is.
It
It's west.
borderlines
Yes,
west.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
that's what
Yes,
I
yes,
thought.
yes.
Okay. So let me ask you this question right here that everybody's dying to know, and the chat room is there. Hey, I want to welcome Facebook Live, YouTube. In the house with us, I'm going to bring him in early on. We got Mr. Black, Brother Black, on his way to ATL, and Tony Stone is sitting with us. And for everybody that's just joining us, we are interviewing a young man who is not about to talk. He's going to do the action for you. And he quit his job to show everybody in South Euclid that he was for real. And we're talking with Mr. Cutis, or a candidate for Ward 3 council seat in South Euclid. Now, Curtis, everybody knows about this. Before we go into the business and stuff, so we might as well take the gloves off and go right here because you want to stop the madness, keep it 100.
Okay. Go ahead.
Tone and Stone is in the house. You got anything you want to say, Tone and Stone?
I don't think my mic. So there we go. I don't know. I'm kind of coming in on the back end, so I'm trying to listen to hear. But if I got any questions, I'll chime in.
Please.
Right.
Please.
So what we want to know right here, I'm gonna bring it right here because I have before me right here is the new Cleveland Police General Order of Bias-Free Policing. So what I want to do is I want to go off of that, and I want to ask you a question here. What are you going to do to improve the relationship between law enforcement and the community and the young people in the community? Because that is where a major problem is, because we went out and talked to a lot of people about the broken windows effect. So we're going to talk about a little bit about the broken windows effect. So what I want to know is, as the newest councilman coming in as a law enforcement officer for 16 years, you have a unique idea of where the problems is, what you need to come into, how you to get with the police department and get them into the community-based policing out of the broken one form. So tell the people of South Euclid, what is your idea to improve that relationship?
Okay, well, one of the first issues that I did notice when I spoke to residents was that they couldn't name a police officer. I saw when we've been older, we as kids, we all know almost one or two officers as kids. We all knew someone by their name. And one of the things I would like to implement, which we do in Cleveland, is called Park, Walk, and Talk. And that's something in which the officer, a two-man car or a one-man car, will actually park his car, get out, walk the neighborhood, and get to meet the neighbors. This can be done on a daily basis, or even have specific days or hours, like on the weekends, and go where kids are. On the weekends, let's say McDonald's, to the schools, and talk to the kids as far as what is the proper procedures. I think sometimes we have to talk to the parents as well, because sometimes parents have a whole different ideas, and kids get we had to feel about the police from their parents.
Okay.
So sometimes there's a huge misunderstanding as far as the way how things are handled. And when I talk to kids, I tell kids, don't do this, don't do that. Don't reach, don't run. Just, hey, stay there, show them your hands, and just listen to whatever the officer says.
So, it's really time for everybody to really think about this zero tolerance policing. Some departments that went to that, and it's time to really reevaluate that. So let me ask you this question right here. In South Euclid, you have certain ordinances and everything. Would you prefer that instead of people being cited or arrested, that maybe they receive a warning and then go into diversion programs, other than putting them through the system, destroying what we say, most black males, if they get arrested, they go into the system right away, and now they have a harder time trying to overcome going into the system?
To make a long story, yes. I met with a professor from Cleveland State some years back, and we discussed traffic tickets. And at the time, I didn't realize how serious it was. For example, you give someone a traffic ticket, he can't afford to put a ticket. Next thing happened, his license is suspended. Next thing happens, he's driving again, trying to get to work to put food on the table for his kids. He gets stopped by the police again. Now, guess what? He's driving under suspension. His car is now towed. Now he has no car. Now he cannot get to his job, which is probably like 40 minutes away by car alone, but now by bus it's not going to be almost an hour and a half. It's less time he's going to be at home with his family. Next thing that happens is that he probably loses his job. I'm not saying that he will turn to a life of crime, but once you can't get to the good paying job that's an hour outside the city, what's next for him? So to answer your question, yes, I do believe in giving out warnings and going through a diversion type program.
Now, when you look at this also, we're going to stay in law enforcement a little bit. The prison to school pipeline is a big problem in Cleveland, and now the residents from Cleveland are going out to the inner ring suburbs first, which is South Euclid, Euclid. And for everybody who don't understand, when I say inner ring suburbs, we're talking about South Euclid, Euclid, Brooklyn, Brooklyn Heights, Cleveland Heights, East Cleveland, Shaker, and all that, the borderlines on the inner city. So as Cleveland goes, the old saying goes, so do the inner ring suburbs.
Correct.
And as when the inner ring suburbs go, so do the outer ring suburbs. So we all in this together. This is not a racial issue. We all in this together because you can't keep selling your house running because pretty soon the wave is going to catch you and there's nowhere to go.
Exactly.
Okay.
You're right.
So the problem we have with the prison to school pipeline, how would you close that?
Wow, that's a very, very good question. One of the things that I've thought about over the years is to when a kid first goes to school from kindergarten, that they get a mentor, someone that like a big brother or big sister that they can talk to at least once a week, someone who's doing the right thing. They're positive. Sometimes kids don't see someone doing the right thing. There's no positive things happening in their life. Trying to have someone, at least for each kid, have someone. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna be his mentor. So when a child feels conflicted, that he feels that he cannot go to his parents are not doing what is considered to be the right thing, there's someone else who gives them a second or third option. Hey, you know what? Don't do this. Don't do that. For example, I still, by the way, I still work for the city of Cleveland. There was an issue here because I wanted to run for public office.
Okay.
But it's a nonpartisan election outside of Cleveland, so I can do that.
Oh, okay.
So I'm still in a job.
Okay.
So I work in white collar crimes now, which means fake checks, credit cards.
Financial crime unit.
Yeah, financial crimes.
Okay.
So one of the biggest issues that I have is that we have a lot of young kids, 19, 20 years old, getting felonies.
Right.
You have to realize you catch a fake check for $1, that's a felony.
Correct.
They don't know that.
And then they're done. They're done.
They're done. I try to talk to kids, hey, you can't do this. What's so hard about working hard, even if it's for McDonald's or Rally's or wherever it is? What's hard about working hard, and then slowly you get where you need to be. That's where I started.
Well, another program I wanted to ask you about is that we had it running here in Cleveland. You should be familiar with it. Patrolman Harper, Lakeisha Harris,
yes.
Sergeant Lisa Steele. I think they was all involved, and you know that all the young black males that went into the recruit Explorer program.
Explore, there we go. Yes.
They all have law enforcement jobs and are moving up, and I'm really proud of those young black men.
Yes,
and we're going to get some of them on here if we can. That went into law enforcement, moving up, and they had a mentor program like that. So is that something that you would try to bring into the police department in South Euclid to change the outlook of the people that they're policing?
Well, you know what? Not just the police department. I mean, yes, I would like to do that, but also the fire department, city hall. What's wrong with having kids there for half the day, working at school, and then after hours, going to city hall, learning how to pick up the phone, learn how to answer calls, learn how to be professional.
Right, and that is a good thing right here. So when we go back down here too, while we still on this thing of law enforcement, community CompStaps. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but CompStap is the computer that analyzes crime and tell police where crimes is more frustrated to put more police officers at.
Okay.
The base is for a lot of the complaints is that people out of the community coming into community policing it, but not policing it with the caring of having a vested interest in it. Okay.
Correct.
So when you don't have a vested interest in something, you only treat it as a paycheck. So the question is that how are you going to change that attitude through the chief of police and work it back down into the foot soldier that's out there as the councilman? A lot of your constituents are going to be calling you with their complaints of, hey, this officer up here really, really doing something. How are you going to guide them through that, and how you see to prevent that problem before it start happening?
Well, to answer your question, I think one of the things we have to do is have, as we all know, if you file a complaint against a city employee, it goes through a process in which the case is actually investigated. And depending on what is found, it is dealt with. I think that once you hire people who live in the city, they already have a vested interest in that city. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not saying that if you don't come, if you're from outside the city, you won't. But if you're from the city, you have a more like when I first came on the job, I walked my street where
Okay.
I actually live,
Okay.
and I made sure that hey, cars won't park that wasn't supposed to be parked there. I made sure guys who were drug dealers didn't do what they were supposed to be doing.
And plus, you had a better interest of whose kid was so and so when you said say
Exactly.
something. Okay.
Exactly. So that's one of the things, I think that people have to get a vest. That's why I really love the whole park, walk, and talk. When you get out the car and talk to people, they're like, okay, well, I know Officer Orr. I know Officer Harris. I know because, he came to my house. He bought me a pop or whatever. The thing about there's no one-on-one interpersonal relationship with officers and the residents.
Now you know the cops acronym, what they call them right now. And what we're talking about, people, is cops, community orient policing and problem solving,
Okay.
and that's where we want to go into right here. Now as a councilman, and you're a law enforcement officer, so and this is a big issue with President Trump and the DOJ and Attorney General. There's an ordinance before council right now that the city of councils has been attempting to iron out that deals with the constitutional rights of freedom of speech in South Euclid.
Okay.
The council committee right now is trying to wrestle with an ordinance that was made back in 1957.
Okay.
So tell us, what is your opinion on that ordinance? Have you studied it? Where you going to come from with it, and what you think about it?
Well, just to be sure, which ordinance are you talking about?
The ordinance we're talking about right here is the ordinance where people where the wait a minute, let me find it right here. The ordinance where a notice have to be on all city buildings and inside the outside of city buildings where protesters have to get a permit from the mayor, and then the mayor would tell them where they can protest at. And that exception would not require, the only exception that requires a mayoral permit is protesters holding non-commercial signs at least 100 feet from exterior of city buildings, and they can't sit in a car. So if you're familiar with South Euclid, there's a gentleman that's protesting the police right there by the fire department on the parking lot of City Hall, and he's been cited. The courts have dropped the things, and they're going back and forth through that thing. And they wouldn't cited him under that 1957 ordinance that they're trying to say that he needed all this. But now they want to say that the mayor has the authority to say who has to have a permit and who doesn't have to have a permit.
Okay, well, here's my whole thing about that. I think that's all. It's all freedom of speech, and I don't believe in giving one person the complete authority to say this person cannot or cannot do this. I believe that should be something that should be voted on by city council, if anything, not just one person.
Now we're gonna move on in your platform because you got a good platform that we want to talk about right here.
Okay.
Uh, Fostering a positive relationship with business owners and stockholders. Uh, those are people that's already in South Euclid. So let's go with them first before
Okay.
we talk about bringing. So what is your idea and what is your plan to keep businesses in South Euclid and keep the owners and businesses people happy where they feel that they are in a good place to stay?
Okay. I've spoken to many of the businesses on inside Euclid. Most of the businesses are all based on Mayfield Road. Mayfield Road is probably one of the most traveled streets in Northeast Ohio.
Okay.
Okay. My thing is that we have a lot of cars going through on Mayfield, and they're not stopping. They might stop to go to Marks or Giant Eagle, but they're not stopping to go to the other stores. One of the things that I would like to do is that we have very wide sidewalks. I would like to be able to have booths from the stores, or for example, there's a cafe. I want to be able to have a boundary which people could sit outside and drink coffee outside. Right now, she can't get a permit to do that. There are other places that has bars that has those who have the ability to do that. I'm not sure what's the difference, but everybody wants to be able to show the benefit of all that traffic. You want people instead of people just simply driving through, they're stopping.
Right. You want more people to participate.
Yeah.
So, are you offering them some incentives such as tax?
Well, those are guys who are still there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but another problem is people who want to move there. The problem is that the rent is way too high.
Okay.
That's what we have a lot of empty storefronts inside Euclid, and the biggest complaint was the rent was too high.
And that's where you come in when you want to increase commercial unit occupancy inside the city.
Exactly.
So to do that, are you offering tax incentive like Cleveland do, tax debates or rebates? And,
Well, you know what? I guess we have to talk to the owners of those properties and figure out a way how we can, like you said, tax abatements or rebates or something to make them. Hey, you know what? You shouldn't have to charge. I understand it's a high traffic area. I do understand that, but you make no money if there's nobody in the stores. You make no money at all.
Right. And then when you look at this right here, also your businesses, is it are you get a program where the businesses are community because you are a residential community
Correct.
mixed with business.
Correct.
So are you trying to get the residents and the businesses together so they can coexist together and have a cordial relationship? You know, like if you got a bar and they're making a lot of noise over here and you're disturbing the residents, that's not good. But if you have them all together and
Well, I think right now the city has a pretty good relationship with the resident when it comes to that. A few months ago, we shut down a bar because it was getting a little bit too rowdy, and there were a couple shots were fired. Honestly, it was. It happened no way, and it was shut down. But there's two other bars that are still there. There are no issues at all, and I think because everyone got the message.
welcome there. San Francisco's in the house with us and tied in. And Savannah, Christina, thank you for joining us on Stop the Madness, Keep It 100. Tonight we're talking with a esteemed young man that's going into politics and is going to be about to talk instead of just talking on Facebook and being a keyboard gangster. He's going out to actually take the fight to the streets and get that change that everybody's asking for. We're talking with Curtis Orr, who's the Ward 3 council candidate for the open seat in South Euclid, Ohio. So, Curtis, let me go right back in here. Let's talk about what everybody want to know: money. What is the transparency and accountability you want the city to give the residents?
Hmm. Well, I think one of the biggest issues that we have had is, as far as transparency, is having to make sure that when we have money or bills put on, so we can have taxes, new taxes, the money goes where it is supposed to go. That's one of the issues that we've had, and we have to try and make sure that if we are to move the money somewhere else, that the residents know prior, not after.
So, you talked about the review of the budget. Is the budget reviewable to the residents or before or after it's voted on?
I think after.
After, so
Yes.
they actually don't know what's going on
No
until
one.
after.
Let me just take that back. I'm not really sure.
Oh,
I'm not
okay,
really sure. Let me make
okay.
sure. Okay.
So when we come back here as the city of South Euclid, right now, uh, there's 52%, only 42% of black residents in there. That number may tick up to a higher
It is.
thing. So, what are you going to do to ensure that those residents have an economic opportunity in the city of South Euclid when they get there instead of locking them out?
Well, South Euclid, like I said before, is a very unique city. Um, it's hmm, it's a bedroom community more or less. We don't have that many much. We don't have that many more openings for new houses. We
Okay.
really don't. So everything you see is what we actually have. Now the biggest thing is trying to make residents feel at ease and make them feel like this is where I really want to be. Um, there are people who want to stay inside Euclid. I met a young man a couple of weeks ago. He has a business. He wants to be able to keep his business inside Euclid, but he's unable to find any way to keep his equipment. Now he wanted to put it in his garage, in his backyard, but of course the city wanted to have it being labeled as it's not a business. It's not
Zone for commercial
zone
property.
exactly.
Commercial property.
But
Okay.
my thing is, if it's in a garage, what difference does it actually make?
Now, this is a question that you want to look at that also dealing with commercial trucks and all that. But let me go back here for a minute when I ask you this one question. About 6.7% of the families, or about 9.3% of the population in South Euclid, is at or below the poverty line. So, in order to bring them up to where maybe they can have this opportunity or programs in the city, are you thinking about getting programs together to help the poor in the city? Maybe food programs, there again, housing programs where you go out to the houses and help them, because I don't think they're homeowners. They may be renters,
Correct.
like that. So those are the ones that feel that they're being left behind. Is South Euclid going to try to get programs to bring them in so everybody can enjoy the fruits and labor of the city and the tax dollars?
I would think that we should, and I think we would. One of the biggest issues, that things that I always tell people when I knock on the doors is, have you been to a city council meeting? And the answer is always no. And I always tell them, people, we would not know what your problems are unless you come and tell us. If you feel like this is, we need help in our home because I can't afford to fix my gutters, I can't afford to fix my paint or to fix my violation, but you never come and ask city, hey, I'm having issues. Can we have a program set up for this? If the resident do not ask for it, 9 or 10 times you're not going to get it.
Okay. So let me go here, right here. As a new councilman, I love this question right here.
Okay.
Day one, because you are probably going to get elected. So I already know that they can't get a better person. The 28-year council person sitting in the seat has already said that. Day one, when you walk into office, what is your plan for the city of South Euclid and your constituents that put you there?
Okay. The first thing I would like to do is this: sit down with everyone for city council and have a brainstorm of where do you see the city. Number one. Number two, where do you want the city to actually be? How do you want us to be seen? And we work on a plan to get that done. Like I said, the city has no real identity. I'm sure you guys all live in Northeast Ohio, and there are places that you go and okay, hey, I'm going so and so, but so you say, I'm going to South Euclid. Then you hear crickets. You want to be, okay, I'm going to South Euclid because just name something. We want to be able to have that. For example, we have Notre Dame College. That's one of the top schools in its division.
Okay.
Okay, we could possibly, we always have to think big. We could be like how Penn State is, or how Ohio State is. How that city just runs, that program runs the city.
Okay.
Or let's say, hey, let's go to Northern College to watch football. I'm thinking of something, 'cause we need something to bring people to our city.
Right, something to bring them in and keep them there.
Exactly.
So let me ask you this question: the pools that they closed early, are you going to try to find funding to get those back open and stuff? I think that is your pool in the corner of what's that, Monticello Boulevard and
Monticello and South
right,
Belleville.
that
Yes,
where the dog park is.
exactly. That pool is used for the kid. It's a kiddie pool, and
Oh,
it's more of a splash park.
okay.
And we have a pool right now at Bexley Park, and that one is used, very much, all through the summers.
Okay, and then you was talking about other programs for youth. What programs are you going to set up for the youth other than sports or something like that, like crafts, Girl Scouts, stuff like that?
Well, I think the biggest issue that we have is having programs for the winter months. Right now we have a new library. Most of the kids hang out there, okay, which is fine. It's okay. But when wintertime comes, the kids aren't going to be hanging out on the corner anymore or hanging out at a store. So we got to find a way. What can we do with the kids? Like you said, you mentioned um, the Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, basketball courts, basketball teams, more football. Try to get more kids to play, something to do. That's why I mentioned the whole thing about having a rec center.
On the rec center there, the ASU. So the rec center that South Euclid and Lyndhurst have, that's in the city of Lyndhurst?
Yeah, that's actually the YMCA.
Oh, okay. So does
A
South
paid program.
oh, it's a paid. So
Yeah.
does South Euclid have a rec center or
No.
okay? So
No,
you're talking
we
about
don't.
building a rec center in the city for the kids.
That's part of my long term plan.
Long term. Okay.
Okay. Right now we have a community center, which could be expanded to have a rec center attached to it.
Okay, that's the part that we want to get into right there. So you want to actually bring a rec center into the city of South Euclid, and then that's where the programs can start kicking off for the youths in there
Yes.
to give them something. Okay,
Yes.
we got that right there, ladies and gentlemen. This young man really needs to be looked out at. Look at his platform; it's a good platform. We're really glad that he's here with Stop the Madness, Keep It 100. And Curtis, I want to ask you this question because we did this with the mayoral candidates, and I just want to say, I'm sitting here and I'm telling to myself, I just can't, I just don't know about this guy, and I'm not there yet. You know the people that's backing you. You know the people that's going to put a leather for you. So, but I want you to talk to the people that haven't made their mind up or doesn't know if you're the candidate that they want to vote through. So I want you to tell them why they should go into that booth and vote for you as the Ward 3 councilman for the city of Euclid.
Okay. First of all, I do care about the city. Second, I'm not a puppet. Okay, I'm a police officer for the past 17 years. I know how to make tough choices that need to be done. Things that need to be done, I want to be able to make those tough decisions. Um, there's a change inside Euclid, and I want to be at the front of that change. And that's mainly what it boils down to. I'm not a speaker. I'm not a talker. I'm a doer. I'm sorry. That's why I'm here. I'm sitting here, and I'm like, talking doesn't really get you anywhere. Simply just go and do it.
And ladies and gentlemen, you heard that right here on Stop the Madness, Keep It 100. One of our own, Curtis Orr, candidate for Ward 3 of the South Euclid Council. Get out Tuesday and vote. No matter what you do, I want you to vote. I want everybody to vote because Jackson wants you to know that if you're not the problem and if you don't vote, you are the problem. Curtis, hey, we appreciate you coming in here with us tonight, man. I really do. It was a pleasure sitting here with you on Stop the Madness. And, hey, we want everybody to know that everything is, we were going to be with you when you get in office. We're going to have you back here, and we're going to talk to everybody about that. But tonight, everybody, we have Tone the Stone, the Diamond Boy, in Studio 51 with us. Tone the Stone, what's up with you?
What up, Shadell? What up? Thank you for coming, Curtis.
Thank you,
Sorry
sir.
I couldn't hear all the interview, but good luck to you
Thanks so much.
in your campaign. Sean seems to think that you got it. It's a lock. So, I look forward to hearing about the great things you do in the city of South Euclid. Me personally, not being a resident of South Euclid, I hear you talking about the issues like the rec center and the kids playing basketball and the housing issue, which are issues that people take serious. I just feel like you got a good thing going on, with South Euclid. There are things to be done, but you don't have all the serious issues that like the city of Cleveland to deal with. So that's a good thing, in a sense, So good luck with you.
Well, like I said, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to at least things are gonna happen. Things are gonna change. My thing and every resident thinks to be okay. Let's not try and make this happen here. What do I need to do? What can I do?
Right. To make it better.
Make it better.
Man, and my impression of South Euclid, like you say, it doesn't have an identity. I think of it. I like it. I got a good impression of it. I think it seems like a great community to live in. It's like I said, it's not all of the issues and drama and headaches that you get in the city.
Not.
So like it's one of those places where I keep my eyes open as far as making a home someday. But like I said, good luck to you.
And hopefully, if I do get in, and I'm able to implement half the things that I want to, you wouldn't have no choice. Hey, you know what? I'm moving to South Euclid.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's my whole point. Everyone is running to out east to Solon,
Right.
Twinsburg, Macedonia. Why can't I be South Euclid?
Right. I don't see nothing wrong with South Euclid.
Okay.
So if you can make it even better, hey. you know.
Hey, he will make it better. But also with us tonight in Studio 51, sitting in the funny chair, Mr. Black, a.k.a. Brother Black, on his way to the second
Lorenzo
Chocolate
Black.
City ATL. Mr. Black, I want to thank you also for being with us. And you know what? We wish you all the luck, man, while you out there on tour, up on stage in the ATL, knocking it down. And we want you to know, man, hey, we appreciate you being with us for the last 3 weeks and showing us some love and being here with
Always.
Stop the Madness. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Brother Black, a.k.a. Mr. Black. Yeah, what you got to go ahead and come on in here and tell our people how much you love them.
Lorenzo Black, man, check me out, man, on stage somewhere near you, coming soon. I want to say, I want to thank Mr. Cutis here, man. I like what you're doing, man. I wish
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
I wish you luck, man. The whole way, you know, I know that's gonna be a little bit of, a little bit of tough job, having a lot of weight on your shoulders along the way. But you seem like you got your focus on right. I like what you said though. You said you ain't much of a talker. You know, you a doer. You about action. You know, you about affirmative action. I like that. I think South Euclid got something good coming.
One of the things that I always say, I'm not a career politician. I'm not. I think after a few years, after 3 or 4 terms, like, okay, 9, 10 times, there aren't any new ideas unless you're constantly learning, constantly going to other cities. I said, okay, since he does this, let's try this. You just cannot. I think, that's why I kind of believe in term limits as well, because you have to realize that after a while, you don't have any new ideas. And somebody who comes in who's younger, older, or whatever, but have different ideas. That's what makes us city grow.
Right. You got to
Right.
keep it fresh. Keep it fresh.
Exactly.
That's good.
Now, you said you're not a career politician. You've been a cop for 17 years?
17 years, yes, sir.
So, and you're a resident of South Euclid, I
Yes,
take it.
yes,
so,
correct.
and now you're running for the council position in South Euclid. Do you think, eventually when you retire or when you quit the police, you think you'll come and try to do politics in the city?
City of Cleveland?
Oh yeah.
No. Well, first of all, I do like South Euclid a lot. I
Mhm.
really do. I wanted to get in politics in Cleveland, but I forgot what it's called. We aren't allowed to.
Okay. Oh, because you live in South Euclid.
No, he's an
No.
employee.
Because I'm employed of the city of Cleveland.
Right.
So I can't run for office in the city of Cleveland unless I retire.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like
I'm
after
sorry.
you retire, you think you might.
No. I love Cleveland.
Well, you know,
I'm not South Euclid.
well, you
I
know,
love South-
Curtis might have aspiration to be our next senator sitting downstate. I know he can do a lot better than a lot of them. You can go down there and really make some changes because it's time to make changes in Washington.
Well, you know what? I think there's a lot of things we have to learn. I think there's so much to learn about as far as how to make laws, how to write legislation, and that's what I would like to. That's what I would love to actually do.
So everybody, that was Curtis Orr, 16-year veteran of the City of Cleveland Police Department, getting ready to be the next councilman. So he's getting ready to leave Cleveland. Y'all getting ready to lose a good detective because he's getting ready to be the next councilman in South Euclid and Ward 3. And Curtis, hey, I would like to take this time right here, man, and thank you very much for coming with us and being on the show. And once you get elected, we really do want you to come back and sit down with us and let's talk about the problems, and maybe we can get some programs together to help you out with it and get your word out. And then we can talk about what's going on. You can tell us what's going on in South Euclid and the changes that you made.
Okay, that's fine. can do
Everybody,
that.
right now, we're going to go back to the best of the 57 mayoral election debate where Zach Reed and Frank Jackson went toe to toe, and we won't hear about it right now.
the same old things. Back to reality, even when I'm running from the unseen, or I'm falling dark and deep. You see, I'm climbing the world's highest mountain. I wanna reach its peak. I'm feeling my way through this cold world. Fate's coming after me. All I need to know is this one thing. Will you still be just like a tree there? Will you still be just like a tree there? Will you still be just like a tree there? Will you still be just like a tree there? Ooh, ooh. As we climb life's ladder, nobody wants to fall. It's like questioning irony. It makes no sense at all. It's the life of a newborn baby. As the sun shines in the spring, then we face the days of tomorrow, not knowing what they bring. Now if I come to a set of doors and I don't know what to choose, I'm being chased by all things I can't imagine. My mind is running, but my legs won't move. I'm swimming in the world's smallest water, but I cannot reach the end. All I need to know is just one thing. Oh, will you still be just like a tree there? Will you still be just like a tree there? Oh, will you still be there? Will you still be just like a tree there? Oh, baby.
We fall back into the days of us, when tomorrow is yesterday and today is forever. Dreams of the unseen makes me feel like all I have is me. My face in a race, but in a race for what? I can't feel, I can't taste, I can't touch. Climbing life's ladder, slip, fall, slow. What does it mean? Second guessing myself, wonder no more. It's just a dream, because when I open my eye, listen.
Now if I come to a set of doors and I don't know what to choose, I'm being chased by all things I can't imagine. My mind is running, but my legs won't move. I'm swimming in the world's smallest water, but I cannot reach the end. I want to know, I need to know, I got to know, oh yeah. Will you still be there? Will you still be there? Oh, will you still be there? Will you still be there? Oh, baby.
This is not amateur hour. It's not about rookies. This is about, it's not about inexperience. This is about how do we move this city forward and how do we move the people of this city forward.
So let me lay out to you what my experience is, since I had no experience. For 11 years, I worked for 2 governors of the state of Ohio. For 4 years, I worked for a legend in San Francisco, Mayor Willie Brown. For 1 year, I worked in the county government, and for 16 years, I've been a council person. When he became mayor, he worked in the prosecutor's office, and then he became a council person, and now he's mayor. I worked in all.
Is an office of the mayor of the city of Cleveland, and you have to have good judgment, and you have to be responsible. He's never accepted responsibility to anything. It's always somebody else's fault.
Won't let someone tell you I didn't do something. I did do something. And I'm a better person today because I went to the Cleveland Clinic. I'm a better person today because I went to the rooms of AA. I'm a better person today because my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, helped me. So I did do something. We say that because from the beginning I've said that we need 400 police officers. And when I first started saying we need 400 police officers, people looked at me and said that's crazy, it's undoable, no way it's going to happen. Now look at the discussion we're having now. The discussion now is the police chief, the top cop in the city of Cleveland, says he needs 250. We've got a mayor who's now sending out pieces of literature that looks like me on the front, that now says that he's going to hire 300. So the discussion now has gone from I'm crazy and we're never going to be able to do it to the top cop says we need 250. The mayor says we need 300, and I say 400. So now we're at least at a point now that we all can agree that we need more police officers. That 1,458 police officers are not getting the job done. And the fact that City Council, on my birthday, April 1st, actually approved the budget. And in that budget, it said that we have a budgeted amount of 1,601 police officers. And as we sit in this room today, 168 police officers below that budgeted amount. Not just any amount, the budgeted amount. So that means even if you just did the math, let's do simple math here. I don't need to find the money for 400 police officers. I need to find the money for 232 police officers. He doesn't need to find the money for 300 police officers. He only needs to find the money for 132 police officers. So the money is there. The question is, why haven't we done it?
This is about the future of the city of Cleveland. This is not amateur hour. It's not about rookies. This is about, is not about inexperience. This is about how do we move this city forward and how do we move the people of this city forward. And I have demonstrated over the last 12 years that we have done things and we have moved this city through some very challenging times. Whether it was the Great Recession without going into default, whether it was the whole crisis of predatory lending and maintaining our neighborhoods in the best we could. When we looked at the challenge of education, we came together as a community and did those things to address education in a holistic way to create reform, and it's showing and bearing fruit. This is about the future. We have worked, and I have worked, and my administration has worked. And we worked hard every day so that we could position ourselves to have the opportunity to have a bright and a good future. That didn't happen by accident, ladies and gentlemen. That didn't happen by a conversation. That didn't happen by pointing out all the woes of the world and blaming everybody else and not taking accountability or responsibility for what you do. That didn't happen that way. It happened because we put the work in. And that is what it is.
Came here because they can't believe what most people in the city of Cleveland can't believe. After the Eric Henderson situation when he got his eye socket kicked out, after the 137 shots, and after Tamir Rice, two men still stay there for Graff and Flash. And not only do they stay there, they got promoted. You understand? The debacle within the safety department, these two individuals got promoted instead of getting fired. That's why they're here. So let me lay out to you what my experience is, since I have no experience. For 11 years, I worked for two governors of the state of Ohio. For 4 years, I worked for a legend in San Francisco, Mayor Willie Brown. For 1 year, I worked in the county government, and for 16 years, I've been a council person. When he became mayor, he worked in the prosecutor's office, and then he became a council person, and now he's mayor. I worked in the federal government, the state government, and the county government, and now the city government. So when he tells you I don't have the experience, I have way more experience than he had when he became mayor of the city of Cleveland. But did you hear throughout this entire debate he didn't talk about his record? Did you hear how he didn't defend his record? He talked about it's about the future, but yet he didn't lay out what he was going to do for the future. See, all elections are about the future. So when you talk about what I have not done, go ask the people of Ward 2. When I got Kinsman Road done for $11.5 million. When I got A.J. Rickoff done on 146th and Kinsman, and now every school in my ward is brand spanking new, and there's not another council person that can say that. The fact that I got a building on 139th, the county building on 139th, reconstructed for all the city, all the senior responsibilities and all the things that happen with seniors happened in that building. The fact that I built a 40-unit building on 138th and Kinsman, and we leveraged that into the Kinsman Road project, into a $50 million investment in Mount Pleasant. That's what we've done. What did he do with $7 to $8 billion over the last 12 years in leveraging? Look at our wards. It didn't leverage back to our wards. Look at our wards. We're talking about leveraging. Look what he did not leverage.
Now, you heard that right there. That was the best of the debate. Mayor Jackson and my man, Zach Reed. And Zach went toe-to-toe with him. I didn't think Zach can stand up like that, Tony.
I have faith in Zach. I mean, like I said, I didn't vote for Zach, in the, the general or whatever, the first election, the primary. I didn't vote for him. But I had more faith in him, and I was more supportive of him than over Jackson at that point. You know?
I think it might be an upset because when Reed took it, as you heard it, Reed took it toe-to-toe with him, and Reed said something that was that we're going to talk about later on is about nothing leveraging back to our communities, okay? Downtown got it all. Right. Ohio City got it.
Right.
But Huff didn't get anything. Glenville didn't get anything. Collinwood didn't get anything. Right. Tremont didn't get anything. Fairfax didn't get anything.
Right.
And that's a shame. But also, Zach told you what he did with the little things that he had coming on the thing.
Right.
But what I want to talk about right here, Facebook Live, thank you for joining us. YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram. Russell Wilkins is now in the house with his class from L.A. Thank you for joining us on the thing. And also our West Coast cities are joining up with us. Now, Mayor Jackson and the mayor poll that we took with just 12 days left out before the election, it shows Mayor Jackson with a 3-point lead over Reed. 7,300 people took our online poll and also our phone poll. And it shows the results that Mayor Jackson beating Councilman Zach Reed. But the problem is Mayor Jackson is in the error, is in the probability and the range of error, okay? It got Jackson and Jackson We Trust, hashtag and Jackson We Trust 51.7%. Hashtag back Zach is 48.3%.
Now, and this poll was before the debate?
Right. It was right during the debate, right when the debate was going on. It was taking those 4 days. 2 days before the debate, then the debate, then 2 days after the debate.
Because here's the thing. I mean, Jackson, after 12 years, he's got obviously a lot of support. He's built a lot of support over the years.
But he has also, he lost a lot of support.
He's lost a lot of support. So the point I'm trying to get to is that Zach Reed, I think, is more in tune with the people of the city, of the community. Him being a councilman, him doing what he just laid out that he did for his ward during his years as councilman. I think he can get the people behind him more because the people, frankly, unless you're a businessman doing business downtown or a resident downtown, the people of the city don't feel like Frank Jackson has done much for them.
Okay, but let's go with, let's do this right here. Out of the sample, there's 321 Republicans. We took 359 independents and 316 Democrats, and we put them together, and we asked this question. And this is what we found out. So I'm going to ask Facebook Live, YouTube, and our chat room if you want to join us in the conversation like YouTube and Ustream is joining us and talking to us. This is the question I want to ask Frank G. Jackson because he's scared to come on because we're going to ask the tough questions. My question is that the West Side has turned a blind eye against Frank Jackson over the police department, okay? And Frank Jackson made a statement that he fired the 13 officers, okay? But they're all back to work, okay? The police reform, I got the general police order for the new bias-based policing. We're going to talk about that next show.
And before you proceed, Sean, I just want to, so how does that work? He fired them, But in order for them to get their jobs back, I know it was something that the
Well,
courts or something
right,
that
no,
said that,
no,
but
well,
doesn't he have to approve,
no,
because they
no.
work for him technically,
No,
right?
the city already conceded on that. The city has in their contract, which we would ask, like I asked the last mayoral candidates, binding arbitration. Okay, that may be a thing of a past because the last candidate that we had on the show, you remember that he said with the Supreme Court getting ready to rule that you don't have to be in a union. Okay,
Right.
We did that show. Remember
Right.
that I can reap the union's benefits, but I don't have to pay my fair share.
Right.
And that's going to be the death of the unions, okay? Because the union has to pay legal fees, the defense fund, and other things. And if you remember, once everybody doesn't have to pay into it, and remember the people that was, that was the service union that said if they could get out, they would opt out the union. They wouldn't get a union their money.
Right.
So that's basically our right to work state coming into effect. But I told everybody, even at the CBPA, the FOP, and everybody back when we had this conversation back last year, that Senate Bill 5 was coming back and that proposal was there, but everybody said, no, that's not coming back. That's not going to happen. Okay, well, now you're getting ready to get Senate Bill 5 on steroids, okay? Because effectively what they're telling me is I can get the raise. I'm under the same program that the union get for discipline. So if they going to fire a union employee, they have to use the same criteria for me, but I don't have to pay the union.
Right.
And that's the Republicans doing that, okay? This is not a Democrat proposal. This is a Republican proposal, and it's going to come out of the Supreme Court in May. It's going to come out of the Supreme Court in May. That's going to happen, okay?
So let's say worst or best case scenario, I don't know which will say nobody wants to join the union,
Then the union's done. They're going to fold.
Okay.
So when you look at this, what the last candidate that talked about was
but then all those benefits that come with the union, like them getting your legal, getting behind you legal matters, and them negotiating for the raises and stuff. All that stuff is out the window too.
No, the city would have to take that up.
Okay.
See, because
then they wouldn't have any opposition. Like it would be back to the old ways where they do what they want to do.
Right. The city, but see, this is the thing about binding arbitration. The city agreed to if me and the union cannot agree to a solution, we'll send it to our arbitrator.
Okay.
And whatever the arbitrator's decision is, then we both will abide by it.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay.
But the city, they're I hate to say this, their arbitration is whacked at best. I think out of 100 cases, if they win 5, they're lucky. Okay. And the problem with that is progressive discipline. Okay, is that they don't progressively discipline the officer. So when they do discipline an officer, they go overboard. And that's just something that we wanted to talk to the chief about, because I know that they putting officers up on charges for sick time abuse and putting officers up on charges for talking smart to supervisors or not wearing uniforms or not having certain uniforms in their lockers. But when it comes to main things, it's like non-existent. Because, we're going to talk about that next week, and we got Saxman in the studio with us about bias-based policing, and we have right here, what did I do with that? Hold on.
Sax, you didn't get the memo, coffee and donuts, man.
Yeah, he didn't get the memo. We have right here is the new GPO for the city of Cleveland bias-free policing program, and they have some strict ordinance, and they have some strict things that they're writing in the general police order, and this is the new accountability. But we're going to say this for the next show, because this is a show within itself, because we want to point out to where 92% of the police departments in the country are going to policy-based policing, and we want to talk about that. We hit it a little bit with Cutis about South Euclid and the broken windows, because the majority of the police departments right now is doing their policing on the broken window effect. Policing small crimes to prevent big crimes, okay, which create crimes, okay? I'm just going to say it the way it is. And it does break down when the police officers are no longer out of the cars walk in the community, and you heard the council candidate talk about walk, park, and talk.
Right.
That's what he's talking about, getting them out of the police cars.
Right.
But Mayor Jackson, I want to go back to this because this is another thing where he's only leading by 3% as the incumbent. That's in a margin of error. There could be a new mayor come Tuesday in the city of Cleveland, because if the West Side stay home, and we're going to talk about that a little bit right here, if the West Side stay home, Mayor Jackson may be in trouble about the East Side, because everybody has to get out and vote. Saxman, welcome our man on the beat. Saxman is in studio with us. Tell us something good, Sax.
Sax ain't on the saxophone today.
Another week of not turning on my mic. Now, months ago, when I used to come in here, when him and Doug were together, they used to shove this mic down my throat.
Well, you know what, Saxman? You know what?
Now I can't even get the mic to turn on.
Well, you know what? We so shocked that you in studio with us and not out on the beat getting beating up on people. You know,
right?
Tony Stone right there. But I want to go back where we was at. Did you see that policy-based free policing that I sent you?
And bias-based, they claim it.
Right.
Oh my God. Yeah. I know how you feel about it, Sean. Should I reserve my opinion?
No, you can put your opinion out there. I just didn't want you to do it. See, one thing that you have to understand, Saxman, is that on Stop the Madness, Keep It 100, we don't want your opinion known to the chat room until you tell it, so we can talk about it in the chat room.
Right.
Okay.
Because I was about to go in,
Well,
earlier.
go ahead and tell me about it. So you watching it now? Tell me about it.
I think the new policy sucked, but who am I?
Right. Because are you saying that because you're a law enforcement officer?
I'm law enforcement. That's what I'm saying. It sucks.
So is it that now that law enforcement officers are going to be held to a higher standard? You don't like that standard that they're going to be held to?
No. I have no problem with that. The problem I got is that's a two-edged sword, this policy, because now you're making it hard for cops to do their job the way they was trained to do, the way it was back in the day when you and I used to walk the streets. Cops not going to want to get out.
But let me ask you this question.
Okay.
Is it hard to respect somebody? well, I mean, I'm lost here. Is it hard to respect somebody?
It's easy to respect somebody.
Okay, so if you respect your community and you respect the people in your community and you do everything respectful, I don't think anybody have a problem if something goes wrong.
I can only speak from experience. When I get out my car and I'm on duty and I walk up to people, even if I'm about to go into the neighborhood store and you got a crowd of guys out front, automatically they're ready to run. They're on the defense.
So let them run.
Right. So it's not that we're ready to respect the community. Is the community ready to respect us? That's what I'm saying.
But you work for the community.
Yeah, I understand.
I don't have to respect you when I pay you, and I'm a taxpayer.
But I'm not in this business to be disrespected, Sean.
Well, how come you're not?
I'm not. That's not what I'm getting paid to do.
Do you know what the Supreme Court says? Wait a minute. See.
Listen,
wait a minute.
I'm human.
So let me bring this right here, because in a police group, a gentleman has made me the new activist on this, so I'm glad Sax brought this up right here.
I knew I'm about to get
Can I chime in on this?
No, it's because of what happened last week.
No, not you, Mr. Black.
That's
Mr. Black.
what it was.
Turn
me up on the green.
No, Mr. Black, you don't have anything to do with this one.
I inspired you, man.
No, you didn't inspire me. It was a person in a police group
on Facebook.
That went on Facebook, and I did put him on expo. I promised him that I was going to make him famous. I put him on exposure, and I want to say this: if you are in a law enforcement group, or if you are in a political group, and you allow somebody in that group to talk racial, to call people nasty names, to call women whores, to call out any of those names, if you don't call them out and get that person straightened out, you got a problem. Because
part of the problem.
That's why the community feels that police officers have the views that they have, because they think they're in a closed group. They didn't allow this person who's not a law enforcement officer come into this group and talk racial and call women nasty names, and then it goes out on Facebook. Then they wondering why the community don't have respect for them.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
That's the biggest problem. If you're in a political group and you're a politician and you listening to my show right now, and I'm calling women nasty names, I'm calling hateful names, calling people the
People of
N-word,
color, the N-word.
N-word, and all that. And if you're in my chat room, and if you don't come back and say something, then that means you allow the conduct. You accepting the conduct.
Right,
You part
right,
of the conduct.
right.
And that's the problem we have, that we do not have the morals no more to call people out.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So that's why I exposed that person on exposit.com. Okay. And I exposed him because of the racial and hateful things he said, but he said it because he said somebody in the background told him something to say, and he said, well, guess what? You're on Exposit, and if you got a business, your business is going to be boycotted.
Yeah, that sounds like a first grader excuse.
I've been checked already by
Such and such
Sean.
told me.
Sean
Such and
checked
such told
me.
me to do it.
If you're a politician or you're a public servant, guess what? We're going to be knocking on your office door, sitting in your mayor's office, asking, is that the type of conduct that he allows from his public employees? If you are a law enforcement officer, you already know that you're in violation of your social media policy. You will be sitting down with internal affairs. You cannot, and I'm going to say this, you cannot call people of color nasty names. You cannot call women hood rats. You cannot call the kids of the community thugs, terrorists, slop babies, welfare creams. That is not going to be accepted. And everybody on Facebook need to let their friends know and let the groups they're in know that that is unacceptable conduct. And if you accepted it, that means you believe it and you part of it. And if you're part of it, then you're part of the problem.
I used to talk crap, but I never said all those
Slot
things.
babies?
Slot babies.
What
I
is
used,
that?
Hey, I used to be a little hard, and Sean wheeled me back, slapped me on the back of the head a few times.
What did we tell you?
You told me can't do that.
And what did I tell you? Tell the point. I told you if you're going to be on this show,
I be on the show.
you will not call the people of color.
Right.
We do not accept people of color being called nasty names.
Sean
we
took
do
me
not
out back.
accept our women
He took me
being
out
called
back, yeah.
nasty names. I don't care if you white, black, Chinese, yellow. I would not allow anybody in the chat room or on STMK radio or Stop the Madness to call our women nasty names or disrespect our women and our kids. And if you're going to be on this show, and I tell our employees and the hosts, we don't allow it, we're not accepting it, and we're going to call you out, and we're going to fire you if you do it. So that's where
And
we
we're
at.
going to cut your cable off.
That's right.
As soon as I send my Time Warner bootleg dude over
Sean
there.
took me out back. Him and that dog of his, man, beat me up real quick.
But Saxman, I don't want to let Saxman off the hook because I want to go back right here, Saxman. I'm going to go back to this. If you respect the community, okay, and you respect the people in the community, and you respect and treat them equally under the law, and you do your job as the oath you took, I don't think that if you do something or you have to do something in defense of your life or anything, that there'd be a problem in the community with that, okay?
Well, to me, it sounds like Sax, what you saying the way you did it back in the day, that don't sound like it was by the book.
No, it was by the book, Tone. Yes, it was.
No, that's not by the book. Then you should have nothing to worry about. If
This
you do it by the
community-
book,
no,
then there's nothing to worry about. But this is the question.
Lakeshore community loved me because I patrol the Lakeshore community.
But this
I
is the
never
question
had
I
a
want to ask you,
problem.
Sax.
Never had a problem.
This is the question I want to ask you. Okay, so this what do you call it? No zero tolerance.
Zero
tolerance policing.
That's what Sax was doing. Zero tolerance.
Oh, wait! I'm thinking of something else. You're not talking about the disciplining of the police officer. You're talking about the zero tolerance of the community, policing of the community.
Right.
Oh, okay. No, I was thinking of something else.
He about to beat me up.
Wait a minute.
No, I was thinking of something. I thought you were talking about that.
Wait a minute, Sax. I ain't done with you yet.
Oh my!
Okay.
He about to choke you.
But because I want to ask you this question right here. Okay, I want to ask you this question. If let's say I rob a bank, or I'm breaking the law. Okay, I'm breaking the law. Okay. Let's just say I break the law, okay, and we just gonna leave it general. I'm green. I'm not of this earth. You like that one, Mr. Black? You like that one, Mr. Black?
You a sovereign green person.
Right, I'm a sovereign green person.
Break the law. You get away with it. You deserve it.
If I break the law, and you break the law, enforcing the law, and you break the oath that you took to uphold the law and to treat me with respect You know better than I am.
I understand that.
Okay,
I agree.
so you just a thug with a gun.
Right.
Yeah, see, that don't really got
I
nothing to
feel
do
like
with
you
zero
should just-
tolerance policing. Like, you talking about beating somebody up in the act of making an arrest. When I think of zero tolerance policing, I'm thinking like the slightest infraction, you getting the hardest, you getting the most
That's what
toughest punishment.
That's what I was about to say.
Wait,
The
no,
charge should be
you mixed it
double.
up. You mixed it up. You
Should
mixed
be
it up.
double.
That's why I told you that's another show. Okay.
Okay.
Because you have community-based policing. You have the broken window policing. This is what's happening in Euclid right now. Euclid was doing what is known as the broken window theory of policing, and heavy enforcement, and it goes on zero tolerance policing also, which is heavy enforcement on small infractions.
That means no warnings.
Heavy
stuff like
enforcement
that.
on small,
Right.
like they just wrote 2 young men's a ticket for spitting on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And they wrote those 2 young men's a ticket for spitting on the sidewalk because they're upset over Damian Parker and the activism that he brought. Okay.
Right.
So now they're in a zero tolerance policing in the community.
Right.
And all this is going to do is create a bigger problem.
It's going to inflame
because the zero
hot
tolerance
situation.
policing is going to be most heavily utilized on black people.
No, you
know?
can't say just
no.
black
Who are those 2
Well,
people who got a ticket for spit on the sidewalk? Black.
I'm going to say this. I don't want to put color on it. So because you know
Yeah,
what?
but just because they don't say it, you know that's what they mean.
But it goes both ways.
Especially
okay?
if you're saying it's in retaliation to the Damian Parker incident. Now, I was just watching the documentary this morning, as a matter of fact, about the bail system. Like, it's zero tolerance policing could be as deep as that.
And we're going
the
to
lobbyists, the bail lobbyists saying, hey, we need to keep this billions of dollars circulating on bail money.
And we're going to talk about that next week.
On bail money.
When we talk about bias.
$2 billion a year on bail money.
But
that's zero tolerance policing. That's what zero tolerance policing get you.
Right, but you have to look at this. It goes back to the broken windows effect. But see, the city of Euclid, the inner ring suburbs, Cleveland Heights, Euclid, South Euclid, all of them is experiencing the same problem right now, okay? But before we finish that conversation right there, let's go in here and listen to what our chat room want to say.
You're listening to STMK Radio 100.
And now, let's go into the chat room with D-Knows and see what they're talking about for the 57 mayoral election. D, what's happening in the chat room with you on a free-for-all Thursday?
Well, Chanel, it's free-for-all Thursday, and they're letting their opinions show. Cleveland 2017 election, Orsom 69, between the devil and the deep blue sea. Just Rose 101. The only way Cleveland's neighborhoods, schools, and political infrastructure will improve is to start voting for Republican candidates. It's that simple. Under the circus tent. Cleveland needs term limits, plain and simple. The city leader that shows the most common sense is Polinsik. Too bad he doesn't run for mayor because he can do far better than Jackson and the other big-name candidates in Reed and Johnson. Don't care if it is a city the size of Cleveland with about 385,000 residents or a suburb with around 10,000 residents. Once most of these politicians get into their positions, they carve out their positions of power. Incumbents are hard to beat. If there are no term limits, they run again and again. Name recognition and party affiliation almost guarantees a win. The only way the perpetual office holders get out of office is if they retire, decide to run for another office when they are due to get reelected at the same time, swept up in scandals, or pass away. They keep on building up their campaign war chest for the next run for office. In the meantime, they keep on concentrating on their pet or special interest projects. Finally, there is no way a convicted felon should ever hold any elected office. Homer CPD 113. Fair has my early support in the 3rd District. He has the business know-how and a social conscience. And While most of my neighbors and I believe McCormick is a great guy, his free chance at the seat has been marked by community unresponsiveness in general, high crime, and alarming health trends. Bumbleberry to Homer CPD 113. That pretty much sums up what he has or has not done since being in office. What has he done? He did vote for the dirt bike track. Johnny Cleve 10X. They need to be contested. It's time to give the Republicans their 40-year chance to run the city. They can't do worse. Righteous Kill 3222. Enough already about the dirt bike track. The guy has one bad idea, and you want to bury him in it. Funny Side 88. What does a skeleton order at a restaurant? Spare ribs. And that's what's happening in the chat room with D Knows.
You're listening to STMK Radio 100.
What do we really know about Zach Reed?
Zach's done zero for Cleveland. Reed promises 400 new police officers, but has no way to pay the $40 million they'll cost.
Yeah, and Reed was arrested and jailed for multiple DUIs.
That's really not safe.
Reed even opposed Mayor Jackson's education plan.
And Reed hasn't delivered jobs for his ward.
Wow, for 16 years, Zach Reed has failed as a councilman.
Yeah, Reed's all talk, no action.
That's right. It's time to reject Zach Reed.
Sure is.
But Cleveland knows it can count on Mayor Frank Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson invested in safer neighborhoods. He brought in the Justice Department to reform the police and put hundreds of officers on the streets.
And Jackson's plan for our schools?
It's raising graduation rates and preparing students.
This is Mayor Frank Jackson, and we must continue moving forward.
Yeah, let's re-elect Mayor Frank Jackson.
Definitely.
Paid for by Frank G. Jackson for a better Cleveland. Scott Feinerman, Treasurer.
Stop the madness. Keep it 100. The best talk show on the web is here on STMK Radio 100 with your hosts, Sean L., Let, and Tone the Stone. Come join us from 6 to 8 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. Stop the madness. Keep it 100 with live call-ins, heated discussions about current events, politics, national news, weather, and sports. Join our live online chat room and let your opinion show. Download our phone app. Also, don't miss our pre-election day coverage. Stop the madness. Keep it 100 on STMK Radio 100. Come join us from 6 to 8 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. The best talk show on the web is here on STMK Radio 100. Call us at 1-866-484-7865. That's 1-866-484-STMK. Stop the madness. Keep it 100.
After a quarter century of Frank Jackson on the political landscape of the city of Cleveland, it's time for a new generation of leadership. Energy.
Tell you something, we gotta stop the violence, we gotta vote. Stop the violence and vote.
Uh-oh. Looks like Cleveland Mayor Frank Jackson made the news again.
That's usually bad news for Cleveland families. Hasn't he failed us enough? Like when Mayor Jackson shut down the buses on Public Square.
Putting RTA funding at risk.
And the homicide rate continues to climb. It's the worst in 10 years.
How about the staggering number of Cleveland families struggling to make ends meet on poverty wages?
And the children. Half of Cleveland kids are living below the poverty rate.
All this while Cleveland politicians beg their Republican cronies in Columbus to stop our city from voting on the minimum wage.
And how about this? After Mayor Jackson lavishly hosted Donald Trump in the RNC, our neighborhoods are still falling apart, and grocery stores are now closing. Mayor Jackson's list of failures just goes on and on.
Stop this insanity. Call the Jackson Accountability Hotline at 216-512-1740. 216-512-1740. Let's work together to build a better future for our neighborhoods and our families. Paid for by SEIU District 1199. Becky Williams, President.
Tell you something, we gotta stop the violence, we gotta vote. Stop the violence and vote.
You've been tuned in to Stop the Madness, keeping it 100 on STMK Radio 100. And now back to your host one more time, Sean L., Let, and Tone the Stone.
Hey, welcome back. It's Free for All Thursday, and on the phone out of the 216, we have Sandra. What's up, Sandra? Sandra, are you with us? No, her mic's there. She left. Sandra? She took a cigarette break. No, her mic's on. Well, right there, what we're going to do, we're going to try to get Sandra back on the phone and see if she might have disconnected. Let's see if we can get her back on the phone right here out of the 216. Your mic is off, Sex Man. We're going to call her back and see why she hung up on us. Hello?
Hey.
What's up, Sandra? This is Stop the Madness, Keep It 100. Hey, you know you can't be hanging up on us. We don't allow that. We call back.
Okay.
You know, we got 911 sitting here with us. The Sax, we got the Saxman. He said, hey, no, we ain't going to allow her to call us back. It's Free for All Thursday, so what I want you to tell us, we got 3 things we want you to talk about. So you can talk about any one of the 3 things right here. Your Cleveland Browns, the bias-free policing that the new Cleveland Police Department, GPO, they're going to go under. 45. You know who 45 is, right?
No.
Trump.
Oh, Lord.
or to keep it real, anything that you want to say is Free for All Thursday. Go ahead and take your shot. You're live with us today.
Ooh, I don't know.
Okay, well, what you want to say about the Saxman? You want to talk about him? Go ahead. You can take your shot on him. You can take your shot on him. What's his name? The Stanley.
The who?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
The what?
Go ahead and take your shot on the man on the beat. Tell us what you think about him.
Good man. That's a good man.
Well, go ahead. Tell us about him.
What you want to know? Ask a question.
Well, Tom, you want to ask the question?
To Sax or to
No, to Sandra.
To Sandra.
About me.
About Sax.
Yeah, you always cracking on me. Now's the chance.
Well, man, I don't want to. Is this your old lady or something? I
don't know. He got his old lady calling in.
He about to go pick her up in 30 minutes.
Well, Sandra, since we put you on the air, hey, we thank you for calling in and everything, but we got to take another call. We'll be right back with you, okay?
See you, Sandra.
I ain't want to put your old lady on the spot, Sax. You know, our beef is personal, man.
So right here, we was talking here, but someone listening to us on internet radio out of L.A. requested this for the Saxman because of what we was talking about.
Either you're part of the solution or goddammit you are the fucking problem. Either you're part of the solution or goddammit you are the fucking problem.
So we want to go back to this Saxman.
Did you make that your ringtone yet?
Yeah, that's your ringtone.
It should be by now.
Because somebody want to talk about the Cleveland Browns. And
he wants to talk about the Browns.
We going to find out what they talking about with the Browns. Who is this on the phone, Saxman?
That's my cousin Ron. Ron is a Brown lover ever since we were kids. We used to watch the Indians and the Browns together.
Oh, wait a minute. You got somebody on the phone that's going to talk about my Cleveland Browns. I'm going to have to go in on him.
I don't know if he's going to say anything bad. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
On the phone with us from the 216. Saxman, who is this?
This is my cousin Ronnie.
Ronnie.
Ready.
What you got to say about my Browns?
Well, what I got to say about the Browns is I'm going to give you a history.
Uh-oh.
I worked for the Cleveland Browns from 1999 to 2010.
Okay.
I retired from them. I understand the organization, and please give me an opportunity because I know my sports. I played semi-pro basketball. I lived and breathed.
Go ahead.
This is about an organization. This is about money. This is not about a winning. I lost money on Red Right 88 because the car was made upstairs. But in that being said, this is a loving town.
Go ahead, cuz.
I lost on the fumble. This wasn't because of the players. This was all about money. Cleveland, Ohio, and the Cleveland Browns is the most sports-rated, fan-rated, money-making city in October, November. And this is the reason why. If you have a family, if you have a wife, a girlfriend, or whether you're just by yourself, and it's 90 degrees on October 31st and the Browns play at Cleveland Browns Stadium, you're going to have a sellout.
Yes, that's true.
Whether they win or lose. But in being said, this city is tired of losing.
Yes.
We have an owner who cares about football. He just doesn't understand the right decisions.
All right.
Now, and that being said, what is going to be about the Cleveland Browns to make change? The change is not just about the Cleveland Browns. The change is about the NFL, period. Because we're not the only city who are losing and making money, as well as teams are winning and making money.
Okay, so what's your opinion? Why are we losing? Cuz, why are we losing so much?
Why are we losing so much?
Right.
Because we have ownership who comes in the city of Cleveland and understand the mistake on the lake, but don't understand the passion of the people why the lake is why it is.
Okay.
And that's correct.
Ready.
We didn't burn the lake. We didn't ask for the mistake on the lake. Not one fan went down there and set a fire to that lake. You know why? Because if you go down there after 9 o'clock, you're going to get charged for trespassing. So therefore, who else is going down there to burn the water on the lake to make it be a mistake?
Hey, Reddy. Hey, Reddy, I got a question for you. You think they should make Jim Brown general manager? Would that solve all our problems?
You know what? You know what? You know what to solve the problem? The problem will be, it ain't the general managers. It ain't the scouts. They only can do what the president has always told, whether you're white or black. It's people above and people on top.
But
if you want a job, hold on, let me finish. You want a job, you do what you're told to do. So getting a new general manager is not going to solve the problem. Getting an owner that's going to decide that I'm not going to fall into the NFL because the NFL got a lot to do with this.
Well, this
Because
owner
guess what?
only a few years in the mix, and they've been losing long before he came around.
But guess what though? If I own a gas station and if I own many places and I'm an executive, I can't lose because I'm a businessman.
But let me ask
guess what? Go ahead.
Let me ask you this question right here, because we do have a good quarterback, but everybody forget he just came out of college.
We ain't got no good quarterback. We
no.
ain't got no good quarterback.
What?
He don't have a good line though.
What?
You know what we got? You know what we got here in Cleveland?
What, cuz?
We got something to put on the field every Sunday because guess what? Why you think they cut out the tailgate? Because everybody will go and get drunk and spend less money. I work for the Cleveland Browns. Let me tell you something.
Go ahead.
And I'm gonna keep it real with you.
Keep it real, cuz.
That's the name of the
Why
show.
would I spend $7.95 on a bag of peanuts when I can go to the dollar store and get the same peanuts for $1.10?
Well, that's correct. I agree with you.
Why would I go downtown and spend, and I work there. I cleaned the bathrooms. I was a supervisor housekeeper. I started housekeeping. I know what the prices is. Why would I pay $10.50 for a 16-ounce bottle that I can go to the bar and get it for $1.25? So you got to understand one thing, man.
That ran everybody away.
You know what I'm saying? This is about money. This is about money. But you expect me and everybody, because guess what? Yeah. I get up every Sunday morning. I love the Browns and I hate them because I know the situation. But I get up every Sunday morning. I put that hat on. I put that shirt on.
Okay.
I put the brown. I put the brown underwear on.
Okay,
I
well,
put the brown
Saxman, I can get with him. I understand. I do. I'm with you right there. I love my Browns too, so we on the same page. Okay.
Yeah, we on the same
page. But at the end of the day, why should we accept less? Because if you don't do your job or your job, guess what your boss going to tell you? He's going to pull you in the office. He's going to give you a consultation first.
And then fire.
And then second of all, no. Because guess what?
What?
He's going to give you what they call equal opportunity.
Okay.
But then the second time when we pull you in the office, he's going to have a piece of paper and a pencil and your time card. Because when you come in, you ain't going to be able to punch in.
What's going to happen?
And that's being said. You want to know the real reason to make the Cleveland Browns become better than the Cleveland Browns? When we fans stop going downtown and stop spending our money. Because I'm going to tell y'all what. When they show that camera in the middle of the first quarter, in the middle of the second quarter, at halftime, ain't nobody left the stadium. They all in the club lounge. They all walking around the stadium. They all getting drunk. So guess what? Mr. Haslam, he cares, but he don't care because guess what? It's called the love of money. It's the OJs for the love of money.
Hey, and you heard that right here on Stop the Madness, Keep It 100. And that's the way we love our callers to be when they call in, is just to keep it up there.
Keep it real.
Saxman, you know what? I can get with him on that because you know what? Ain't nothing but like tough love from family. You understand? When your family and you give tough love, is better received.
He always get on me about the Browns every Sunday.
What I tell y'all, I'm gonna leave it alone. My cousin know. I'm gonna give y'all an example. I lost $800 on Red Right 88. I lost $500 on the fumble. I lost $400 on the drive. Think about it.
So that's why you're getting evicted. You lost all your money on him.
We're going to leave him on that note from the 216 sitting in the land.
Be good,
hey, but ladies and gentlemen, we got Mr. Black, Brother Black right here, Antoine Black. the comedian.
He
Hey,
ain't feeling good. He
hey,
ain't feeling good.
hey. You know what? I want to take a minute right
like
here,
y'all nicknames, man.
and
This
I
is
really do. I want to take a minute here because I want to thank this brother for coming into the studio with us for the last 3 weeks and spending time with us.
Yeah.
He's on his way to the ATL to go on tour and to break out of his hold and do his thing. And I want to just give him a minute to say what he feels and how it's going. And, hey, man, we really appreciate the love you've shown us. And you do have a home here. So when you get to ATL, don't make me put a 911 call in to find you, okay?
He might get down there and get lost with all
But,
them naked
but
women.
I really do, man. Before we even go out the air, you know, we really appreciate you being here with us, and I really do want to give you the time. So go ahead and take the next 2 minutes, man, and just
do something.
Tell us what's up.
I appreciate y'all for having me, man. Stop the Madness Radio. I like what y'all got going on here. And looking forward, just want everybody to know Lorenzo Black will be to a funny stage near you. Just open your eyes. You know, I will be there. Definitely going to clear out the city of, the state of Georgia. I'm going to hit them everywhere in Ohio again. I've already been pretty much everywhere in Ohio. I just, you know, reformed, you know, reformed. I had to go back in my bag of tricks and, you know, hit them with a little bit more. So
you still got your sovereignty working?
Of course, man. I told you, I'm above all.
Hey, this Star Child's cousin right here. He's he's a brother from another planet.
He said he came down.
I told y'all.
It look like the black wears water. The black water with
Hey, you know, I really appreciate the love that you showed us, my brother, and I'm gonna let you know right now, you got a spot here always, and we want you to call in, man, when we on the air. We want you to talk to us.
You know I am.
We gonna get some of your shows, and we gonna even kick something up. We gonna talk to some of the producers. We got to kick something up with you because you came in good.
I want to tell Mr. Black something. I didn't get a chance to tell him last week because it got kind of 5150.
5150.
That's the first letters of your jail name when they say that. That's the first 4 letters right there.
The true sovereign people that I know of are, guess who?
What?
Omnis people. They're the true sovereign. They're true people because they don't depend on the government. They don't depend on nobody but themselves.
That's
so
true.
if you're going to say I'm a free, inhabited, sovereign individual.
But Saxman, you heard him wrong. He said he was
that.
not from this planet. He's Star
he
Child's
did say
cousin.
he was from another planet.
World.
He don't live in this world.
Listen, y'all, you want me?
Well,
I'm
he
gonna
got
break
hit.
it. I'm gonna
Hey,
do it.
he got hit with the
bop
bop gun.
Tell him the title one more time.
I don't live in reality. When you start opening up your mind,
Jim Carrey said the same thing.
I don't live in reality, man. All of this crazy nonsense that goes on in reality. I live in actuality. It's
But can
a
I ask
whole
you this
nother
question?
world.
Hey, did you get off the mothership and did you get hit with the bop gun? Do you know? So no. But hey, everybody, we really appreciate it. You know, I love my host. I love everybody. Facebook Live. I love it. Thank you for making us the #1 talk show on the web, the best talk show on the web. Let me take that back. The best talk show on the web. LA, YouTube in the chat room, Ustream in the chat room. Hey, we really appreciate y'all being with us.
Russell Wilkins.
We got Facebook Live going. We got YouTube Live, Snapchat, our affiliated cities. We'd like to thank you, Christina and Savannah. Thank you for coming with us, Savannah. You know, we appreciate it. Yeah. We have a lot of people. Dave, thank you. Mike, thank you.
Yeah. Denise, thank you for telling me
we
be
thank
safe.
everybody else. Everybody tell them be safe.
Yeah.
But you know, Tone the Stone, Mr. Black, and Saxman.
This is big, I can't lose. Sugar bow down, I'm the next to rule, but I'ma stay on the cool, remain on the under, cause like Andre 3000, your boy's ice cold. Ain't no limit to the gimmicks and ways to make money. No limit to the just to act funny when you get that cake, cause you spit that way. They may love you tomorrow when they hate you today, but yo, that's the way the story goes, so I was told. Following the ramble down the yellow brick road, but please believe at the end, ain't no pie to go. Just some platinum beats from the Cleveland streets.
Hey, Saxman, we're back in the studio with us instead of being on the beat. What you want to say before we walk on up out of this air?
This was free for all Thursday. Everybody want to beat down on me. Sandra, I don't know what happened to her. She was ready to get me, then she got nervous when the microphone came on, so she got speechless. So we gonna talk, girl. We gonna talk.
Tone the Stone, the Diamond Boy, sitting in the studio with us, got it going on again. Tone the Stone, what's up with you?
Another great show. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I'm glad Sax was able to join us in the studio once again. Free for All Thursday is synonymous with Go In on Sax
Go
Day.
in on Sax, yeah.
Oh, man, yeah, Saxman, you're live. We wanted Brother Black to come back to us, but Brother Black is in the bed. He's crying. He's getting ready to leave us. That brother's on his way to the second Chocolate City, ATL. Come on back in here.
Them jalapenos was calling. Them jalapenos.
Hey. He come on back in here and say bye to us right here. Everybody,
Man.
I want in ATL, when this brother get down there, I want y'all to really show him some love.
Right.
ATL, man, Lorenzo Black, come see me. I will be at a stage near you. I don't know what club, I don't know what time. I don't know, I might be leaving your girlfriend's house. Don't let my girlfriend hear that. Because she know I love her to death. I only got one woman, y'all. I want to make that be known.
Right.
Love you, baby.
You go for Sandra's house, you gonna get cut.
Hey, everybody, we like to thank you all. Hey, we like to thank Curtis Orr for spending the day with us out of Studio 51. We like to thank Angel P for that song that she put on us. She's going to be with us. She's going to be broadcasting on station STMK Radio 100. Y'all show her some love. She's going to be at the local clubs. All of our people, we want you to know one thing. We want you to get out and vote because you get the government you vote for. Make sure you go vote. Make sure you support your community police department. Let's make this change in the community. Let's go out here and do the proper things, and let's love each other. And don't forget what I told you about being in Facebook groups. Call out the nasty people in those groups and clean them up because we will expose them. I'm your host, as always, Chanel. Peace, love, and happiness. See ya.
You've been listening to Stop the Madness, Keep It 100 on STMK Radio 100.